Headphones did.
Yeah, I like this better than the headphones, but I
Yeah.
figured I'll start recording because we're talking about how our patrons have contributed to this kind of
Yes.
decision. I want to
No, that's
while we're
important.
on our mics.
While we're
Yeah.
talking about it. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I pulled the trigger and I was like, I need something for myself. I have my iPad, which you've seen before, and the keyboard, but it's not compatible with things like Riverside. It's not user friendly for everything that I want to do with going beyond. So
Hmm.
yeah, with the help of patrons
Thank
and
you,
other supporters,
patrons.
thank you, supporters, for helping.
It's like
This is the
these are the things we
investment.
can do. Yeah. So I was
Hmm.
able to get this laptop um based on contributions, and it's just taken me a while to like use it or
Right.
fully get figure out what my use is for it. I just knew I needed it because I tried to do Twitch streaming and
Hmm.
just like the computer I had wasn't it, and just wanted options.
Right.
um but and I have them because I don't have to worry about certain things because I have Patreon. But as you're leaving Toast, I'm officially going to be fully 100% entrepreneurial as of July. I just get super
Ugh.
nervous medical wise, but we're in this now. You are in
We are.
Chicago. We're
Yes.
doing it.
We're
This
doing
is
it.
very
We're doing it.
exciting.
This is what we've been
And
talking about for a year.
yeah, yep, yep. It's the investment. We've been doing all the things, taking all the
Hmm.
steps. Look at us. Look at us.
Look at us doing the things.
Look at us
Look,
doing stuff.
I want
Being
to. I want
places
to. I
on
want
this
to
TikTok
congratulate
Talk Tuesday.
TikTok Talk Tuesday. I want to commend you. I'm going to give you some
Me.
flowers. Yeah, you did executive functioning this morning.
Was that?
That's it. You picked up the phone and said, "Hey,"
What?
and then by way of our conversation, here we are now. That's big.
You're
That's big for you.
thank
Snaps,
you.
snaps,
I
snaps.
would never have considered that executive functioning. Mostly because I did it. And I think so like the way it happens in my head is like I can't think about it.
Right.
I was just like, I mean, I was sitting here thinking in general, like, what do I want to do? And I was like, I know that if you're available, like, that would be
Hmm.
opportune. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just call her.
Just pick up the
And
phone
I
and
have
call.
it up. We did it. It was so easy.
Right.
And I'm ready.
I am. I
So
am too. I am
that
too. And
was, I
also,
like that kind
it's
of executive functioning, like when it
that's what
feels
you
right.
need. Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
executive functioning also is just like sometimes just following through with
Yeah.
a thought that you have. It doesn't have to be like, I have this task that I have to do and I'm going to complete it and yay, I did the right thing. It can sometimes be like, I have this thought that seems like something fun and you follow through with that thought.
Right. Like it took executive functioning to even get here, right? We have podcasts and I have a website and I wrote
Hmm.
things. I figured out how to make a blog on the website and all that stuff. It just never feels like it at the time because it's
Right.
usually in like they were kind of manic states of rage induced like mania. So it didn't feel like executive functioning. It felt like trauma avoidance. But if I mean, it doesn't have to feel like suffering to be
Right.
executive functioning. And maybe it's the
Right.
executive part I don't want. Maybe I need a new word for whatever it is because executive functioning sounds tedious
It's it sounds
and it
tedious and it
it sounds like it
sounds
should
like it's
feel
white supremacy.
tedious. Yeah,
Yes.
executive. Who wants to be an
Executive.
executive?
Mm-mm,
And
I don't like it.
functioning is like a bare minimum. So I don't even understand. They come up with these terms and we use them because it's a language, like we
Hmm.
understand it. But I don't like it. But I can't just pick a new name. It'll come to me. But
Yeah, you'll
because you
come
know
to
how
it.
like imposter syndrome isn't a thing.
Yeah, Dr. Martin talks about that a
It
lot.
it
And you've
it's
talked about it,
just.
haven't you?
I mean, yes. I don't know that I've addressed imposter syndrome, the term, but like I talk about going into the workplace and realizing like they're not smarter than you.
No.
No one
No.
deserves to be there more, especially if you feel the awareness of the fact that you don't understand what's going on. It's because it
Hmm.
doesn't make sense. You're
Right.
not supposed to understand. The people
Right.
pretending to understand are bought in to the cult. Anyway,
Hmm.
sorry, didn't. This is TikTok Talk Tuesday. Don't get it's a
And
cult.
and
Have you guys
folks,
seen the documentary?
just so you know, if executive is mentioned in any way, it
Oh my
will
god, I'm
trigger
walking.
some corporate PTSD
I can't.
that Rebecca is still very much in the midst of. And you know what? We are here to
Oh
help her
god.
through it.
How?
The other day, it was Excel, the Excel
Oh my
spreadsheet.
god.
We have
I
found
got
some trigger words.
holy mo.
It's okay.
And you
And we're
know, I
healing.
was thinking
We're healing.
today, I was thinking, it's so soft. I was thinking today that I wanted to bring up that conversation again. Like, tell me the difference between these two things, executive, politician. And people would
Hmm.
scramble and be like, "Oh, what is wrong?" But
Everything.
it's true though.
It is.
Executive functioning sounds like a task.
It does. It does. It
And do
sounds
we
like a
need that?
task.
Like, do we need jobs? No.
No,
Work
we need, everybody needs to
as a
do
concept? Sure.
less.
Right. A job? No. Work? Sure.
Like that
Sure.
word job. You just
No,
said
it's
it, and
bad.
for whatever reason, I did not like the way that it sounded in my ears.
Yeah, it's an assignment. It's a role. You literally get it's a role. What is your role at this company?
That's why people don't call non-passion projects careers. Ew. Ew. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Right.
That
What's your career? Like, and that's why there's so much weirdness in comment sections. Well, not as much in mine lately, but with like, what is your full time job?
yeah,
What do you do? Yeah, I'm not going to listen to someone who's on TikTok all day.
right.
Like, I don't get it.
Hmm.
And they're like young.
They put so much worth and value behind a job. It's just like the conversation, I've had this happen before. Like you're at a party, you meet somebody new, and the question is, "Oh, what do you do?" I hate that question. Like that
Yeah.
question is not necessary, because what happens is subconsciously people are immediately assigning you worth or assigning you value based on
Yeah.
the way that you answer that question, and
It's
that's so
only
dumb.
for them to categorize. It is
Hmm.
not for you at all.
No.
And that's when, I want to brace the audience, but when we have these conversations about pronouns, I think the focus is in the wrong place.
It always is in the wrong place.
It is always on validating yourself through other people respecting your thing in order to be for it to be valid. You don't need a diagnosis. You don't need someone to come and call you your thing in order for it to be true. You decide what's true,
Right.
regardless. And
Right.
in honesty, the way language changes is that you change the language.
Hmm.
Eventually, it won't make sense when someone is referring to you as a pronoun that you don't go by. It like just won't make sense in conversation because
Hmm. Hmm.
like in theory, the thing is everyone's speaking in theory and in concept and hypothetically and this is why you should call blah 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 blah. Blah. But interpersonally, it
Right.
doesn't have to be
It doesn't have to be. And
so interpersonal.
this is going to be a good segue, because you make a really good point. The pronouns and the misgendering, and people having, like, being hurt by being misgendered. And on the one hand, yes, because it affects
Yes.
them. And on the other hand, because we choose who we
Yes.
are we going to let somebody cause us harm based on their ignorance? It's like when we were talking about somebody calling us a slur. It's a
Mm-hmm.
word. Am I going to be harmed
Yes.
by the word, or am I going to be not bothered because it's somebody just yelling a word at me that I know that doesn't attribute to me, that I don't identify with that? So there doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be any harm applied to it.
Right.
And I think that's important. And yeah,
There
you
is,
made me really think, like with words, we've just been giving words too much power.
and what another person is saying. What about
How
what
another
you're
person.
saying and how you feel? Like you have
Hmm.
to address that first before you are demanding it be validated by other people because it's just, you're going to run yourself ragged.
Right.
There's always someone to invalidate. I mean, think about how Black people have survived. We literally were categorized as inhuman, and
Hmm.
the mental category has stayed. It has had to, because how do you see yourself as a good person if you truly think that being attacked means someone says something about you that you don't believe
Right.
about yourself and they say it? That is an attack. But watching someone sleep on the ground outside, listening to mothers get children ripped from them, you had
Mm-hmm.
to have the cognitive dissonance in order to make those two things fit in your brain.
Right.
Um, so, you know, it, I don't know why.
It was going somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, it's priorities, it's focus, it's on the wrong thing. But the segue I was going to talk about, the conversation I was having yesterday on TikTok, since we're doing TikTok Talk Tuesday. I
Yeah.
love saying that, by the way.
I like
Um,
saying it. I hate having to, we're not gonna. Anyway.
uh, so starting the conversation yesterday, I just saw two videos of white womaning, and
Yeah.
essentially using their whiteness as a way to harass Black people. And my
Yeah.
conversation started with no longer calling them Karens. We just don't need to call them Karens because that has been completely bastardized. It takes away the
Right. Right.
validity of the harm that's being caused, because white women know they have a calling card. They know that they will keep Black people timid or passive as a way to protect themselves, or in the moment that a Black person decides to stand up for themselves or defend themselves, then they will use the calling card of help,
Mm-hmm.
somebody's hurting me, and then put
Uh-huh.
that life in risk. And I said, we need to call them agents of white supremacy.
Yes.
And wouldn't you know it,
Mm-hmm.
many
What?
people
Yeah.
wanted to change it to something else.
And give me some examples of like what else?
KKK Karens, domestic terrorists, um, what else was it?
Wow. Wow.
Uh-huh,
Wow.
uh-huh.
Okay, one, the othering. So it's either othering or humanizing an agent of white supremacy. Karen, giving
Mm-hmm,
her name, we get the opposite of names. We get turned
mm-hmm.
into acronyms.
Yep.
We get turned
We
into a BIPOC.
BIPOC.
It's not even, doesn't even sound like a word. People is squished in there.
Mm-hmm,
And only for like a group that it's just supposed to be everybody.
mm-hmm.
And,
But
but Karen, and now we get to group them all as this human who just does this.
right, because
Like it's a
calling them
natural state.
a domestic terrorist is something that's not,
Dom-
it just
domestic?
doesn't make any sense. And somebody else then was like, I don't know, I feel like I'm tripping up on the agent of part, and I just want to call them a white supremacist. And so I said today, because we're going to bring it back to humanizing, we need to humanize agents of white supremacy. They don't need a name. I was like, by taking away that agent of, then you're just saying white supremacist. And the fact of the matter is,
Othering.
anybody can uphold white supremacy, and you're still othering. You're stepping away from the fact that,
Gosh.
if it's an agent of, maybe perhaps I have participated in the
Right.
behavior that's being described, and
Right.
I don't want anything to do with that. So let me real
It's a
quick push
it's
away
not
from
a
that.
personal a, a chromosome someone
Hmm.
has where they are a white supremacist.
Right.
No, if it's just acting in a certain way sometimes, I don't like that. It's not a scary monster. Yeah, because it's
They're scared of
you.
the words.
You are
It's
the thing. When you say, I'm uncomfortable with this label on that, stop.
it
Why are
just
you
means
talking?
that it means that you are relating to it. I've said it before on
Exactly.
Twitter too. Like, people get so mad. We talk about the don't, if it doesn't apply, let it fly.
Yeah.
And I've said, I personally cannot find myself getting so upset about a statement made about a group of people if I don't relate to that behavior. So if I can say
Okay.
that, I was talking about cisgender women. I'm like, are cisgender women okay? And everybody comes in, don't group us in, don't group us in. I'm like, I'm a cisgender woman
Yeah.
that doesn't relate to the behavior I'm describing.
They
So I
don't
don't
they
feel
don't want to
lumped
be
in.
addressed.
Not
They
at
do
all.
not want to be addressed.
Hmm.
How dare you
How very
speak
dare you?
when you're not spoken to? I mean, the
That's what it
reaction
is.
to my name, we want to talk TikTok, Talk Tuesday. I have gotten so many because I decided to go public for a couple extra days. Hasn't even been a full week
I saw.
of honestly, and it was kind of aggressive, right? It was like, tell me how you would feel if there was a Black woman whisperer I'm black, by the way. Tell me now. Or I was like, oh. And everyone's giving away the code, but there's never going to get it because everyone's in the comments
They'll
like,
never get
we
it.
don't say this. You didn't capitalize the B. Like, these are all the ways you are
Right.
not, you can't just say I'm black and people believe you. Like, that's what white people think. You just,
Yes.
everybody else is like them, but just black. You just throw black on it. Oh, honey.
That's not how that works.
Honey, what
That's
are you
not
talking
how
about?
that
You wanna
works.
generalize about us, you know? But
Mm-hmm.
then and there's lots of like, you're white as like something that's supposed to make me be quiet. So they think generally whatever hurts their feelings even a little bit is just gonna work exactly the same repeated back
Mm-hmm.
to you.
Mm-hmm.
Comeback colonizers.
Come back,
This is they
colonizers.
every time it just, especially when it's a quick one, they just say whatever you said back at you
Right.
with no understanding of context. That's why when I say if you're upset at things you're seeing, imagine knowing a whole race of people
Mm-hmm.
thinks you are subhuman and
Right.
makes laws and science around it,
Right.
around the fact and making it scientific fact that you are less of a human. Now you want to
Mm-hmm.
sit here and be like, I don't want to be referred to as a whatever. Honey, can we zoom all the way out?
Like all the
All
way
the way
out.
out. We
All the
still
way
get
out.
referred to as the blacks on a regular basis.
I really want white people to think about why they are taking such offense to such
Yeah.
basic things. Because
Right.
when we talk about
Get
white
curious.
supremacy, we're not talking about the harm that's against white people. We're talking about the harm that is against other people. So why are you upset about hearing somebody else's harm? Like,
And
that's a
even
question I
if
want
it
people to think about.
was, that's true. Right. It's not even your trauma that we're
It,
necessarily talking about. And here's the thing, we're strangers.
strangers on
So,
the internet.
strangers, complete strangers. You can just keep scrolling literally. And if you have feelings, if you are curious, no, I'm going to encourage curiosity.
Hmm.
But feelings don't mean something is wrong. Someone disagreeing with you doesn't mean they misunderstood you. Those things, right? I want you
Say that
instead,
again. Say that again. Feelings don't mean that somebody misunderstood you.
yes, if you
Yes.
get a negative reaction to something you've said, that does not mean that that person misunderstood. If
Hmm.
I say, no, you don't go, no, I was just trying to, I was there, I read it. You're not, maybe I should have chosen my words. I get that very often.
So often.
I can read. It's insulting.
Hmm.
And then when someone comes in to explain something, do you think there's another? So no, you think you could just be like, I'm black, and now black, but I don't speak white. You
Right.
know, this lady wanted to do white speak for me. So when you get these feelings, I want to encourage you to stop, drop, and scroll.
That's all you have
Okay,
to do.
stop, drop all your ego, all your issues, and just scroll through the comments of that exact thing. If there are multiple people who are this upset about the same angle, or like most people are really happy, or like yes, and
Right.
you have a thing about it, you're a Karen.
I want also people to, this, yes, I want people too to think about when you have those big feelings, why don't you have the wherewithal, or why do you not think, should I think about this internally? And I know the reason why.
Yeah,
It's because they're just not taking care of themselves and they want to spew it out all over the place. But also, if you think about this, if we think about this logically, what are you accomplishing by spewing that everywhere? All you've done is
absolutely.
throw a
It's
bunch of
worse.
words at people. You have
Hmm.
not identified how it's making you feel. You are taking
Yep.
yourself away from it. You are separating yourself from a situation while also causing harm. So, all of that because you felt something, you are going to make sure that somebody else feels a lot of harm, and you're still not going to address why you felt the way that you felt. Nobody
Yep.
wins.
Even
Nobody wins.
so, here's why the stop, drop, and scroll. I don't know if I don't know what you would call it, the like whatever, because when we learn stop, drop, and roll, we learn it
Hmm.
early. Why do
early
we
on.
learn it? We learn it because when something is on fire on us, our natural instinct may not be to roll around on the ground. That won't become to our heads. We might start hitting ourselves and
Mhm.
running, like as if running is going to put out the flame. No, you're burning more. You're running. It might make it worse somehow. You're
Mhm.
running into people. Now another person's caught on fire.
Woo!
If we just instinctually stop, drop, and like it's not, you need to, it's like an action trigger. When you start
Yes.
commenting, and especially if you see it getting long,
Mhm.
stop, drop it, scroll through the comments. Do the thing. It may not feel, when you feel yourself getting that instinctual heart racing,
You're
stop, drop,
activated.
and scroll.
I
But
love
that's
that
why we teach
analogy.
it when it's not
Yes, when it's not
happening.
actually happening. You don't learn stop, drop, and roll in the middle of a fire. And I love the fact that you're saying that if you're not doing that, you're running around, it's spreading, and other
Yep.
people are catching it, catching it, catching it. If you
Mm-hmm.
take the instinct to make sure that you're okay,
Yep.
like you
Take
and
care
I
of
talk,
yourself. Take a
yes,
second. Take a
take a
beat.
second, take a beat.
One
We
beat.
talk all the time about in this work, you can't center yourself except for
Yeah.
when you're getting ready to talk. That is a time that you take a minute. What is what I'm going to say make a difference? Is it going to add any value to the conversation? Am I
Mm-hmm.
adding any substance? Or am I just having verbal vomit because I'm having big feelings and I don't know what to do with them?
That's when we ask ourselves, wait, why am I talking? Can always come back to it, because sometimes I catch myself in comments and I'm like, if it takes me a couple retries of rewording it, I usually
Yep.
just let it go and I
Uh
don't
huh.
post, because I'm like, it wasn't meant to be, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And they will live. If I'm thinking at any point this person might take it a different way, I'm just not gonna post it.
Right.
I'm not that important to that
Right.
person.
Right.
And you have to remember that when you go throughout your day. Well, what if I want to compliment a Black woman? Don't, she
You
is
don't
not
know
missing
them.
out on anything. But there's this
Right.
feeling that like they want to show their appreciation. Oh, your hair. I hear you, but risk reward. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You might be traumatizing someone. You are, let them be.
Well, and also
They're
I
not waiting for your input.
no, and to the same people, my question is: do you feel this strongly about complimenting random white women?
They're going to say yes.
And I will call them all a bald faced lie.
Right,
But
right, right. If they're not, some
I, I think
the true ones will know what you're talking about.
right. I think
Mhm.
that's another way of, and this is going to sound goofy, but I think it's another way of dehumanizing us. But the only way that you can relate to us
Goofy,
is to tell us
never.
how pretty you think we are. It's like when people have, they want to say something. Oh,
Hmm.
I know, you said a lot of things, but I just so focused on how good you look. So I just sat here and gave you a whole sermon on white supremacy and how it's upheld, and you want to tell me how good I look? Like, no,
See, and yeah, and there's ways to do. Yeah, just think about what you're saying.
just
Like,
think about what you're
there've been people
saying.
who are like, I watched it once for the puppy, twice for the message, or like the second time for the message. I'm here for that.
That is good.
Once for your nails, one for the okay, because I'm saying something.
At least acknowledge the fact that you came back to listen to what was actually said. Like
Right.
acknowledge that piece of it. But if you stop it as, oh my God, it was so hard to listen because blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, Mai Tai was just talking. I was on live this morning, and I just caught a couple minutes, and she was like, "The three questions I get asked the most: Where are your glasses from?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Probably her bralettes.
skincare,
Uh,
how she cuts her t-shirts."
yeah.
She talks about. I mean, I guess what other consistent questions would you get? But it's like, I don't
And
know.
so I go back and forth, like as you're saying that, like
It's
those
not
are three.
bad. It's not
It's
bad.
not bad. And I guess we can hope that the other things that are being triggered are being addressed offline. Realistically, who
Yeah, yeah. And like
knows?
we like to share with our people
It's a tricky situation because I've also
after
said
a
I
certain
don't.
amount of times.
Yeah, I don't want my comment section to turn into somebody's journal. I don't know.
Yeah. But I just noticed that today and I was like, those? And then I don't remember what the fourth one was, but it wasn't. I was like, I thought one of them was going to be like, have you gotten your hugs, or like,
Uh huh.
have you worked touch starvation? Something. no, which would have been sad a different way. Like,
Right. Right.
um,
Right.
yeah, yeah. And between my name and anytime I go public, I need to know. I don't know if you can hear Fran snoring, but anytime I go public, the John Brown cult comes to get me.
How does that
Someone has
how
been,
does that happen?
that guy has been waiting since the original because he was like, you didn't respond to that guy's rebuttal. And someone else was like, did you watch the other video? And he was like, yeah, well, I, someone said a whole people babies have been born since
Whole people baby.
people babies. I was like, people babies.
But my thing about
Such a, like, I'm like, yeah, I like that because
that's exactly how you would say it.
different
People babies
people babies
have been born.
human babies.
I want people like John Brown Gate is never going away, and I think that we should just recognize that. But how? How do you feel good about dick riding so hard for a white man, first of all, who's dead?
Sharky said, "Are y'all not done juggling this dead man's balls yet?"
Like seriously, they have to be made of dust, and you're like,
They are
Just
concerned about
juggling
the
them.
slander of John
Of a-
Brown that they harass me,
a black people.
black people, and I need to talk. Okay, I know a lot of black men don't. It's not my audience, but I got some.
Yeah.
This is your fault. It is because he opened the door. Once y'all be like, I'm about to critique a black woman, and she don't take it, and then you just dip out.
Yeah.
And now all these white men in there like, well, did you do the sources? The sources. He had the sources.
Oh,
did you
the
respond to him?
sources.
He said.
Ugh.
Although, someone did say, hey, did you look at the video beneath that? And I didn't. But you know what? I don't care. He needed to come back and be like, yo, sis, my bad.
Right.
And thank God I had Walt and Jamal. I think like them two specifically got very little pushback. I mean, Walt, he had all the receipts. And
right.
But so few cis straight males know that they find the John Brown. They're just like, nah.
I want cis black men to recognize that if white men are only agreeing with you when you are disagreeing with a black woman, then perhaps what you're saying is not that fantastic.
And like, this is the internet. If you know what I'm doing is a thought exercise. Nah, I usually okay, I'm not gonna do his voice again. But he usually respects me. But when the fact that I questioned the inclusion of black people in John Brown's suicide mission, like that's where you draw the line.
That is you've gone too far.
We
have found the limit.
And I kind of hate coming across like black people who are like, this is our guy. Because I get it. I was here for that. I was a Jane Elliott stan.
Sure.
I just got it on this day for 2 years ago.
Yes.
I was here for Jane Elliott. Right? Because I get she's got the right intention. And
but
she's
if it
doing
comes
something.
To the point, she's doing something. But if it comes to the point that you are writing harder for a white person than you are a black person that's doing the exact same work, that is a problem. Like, yes, we can say we've got advocates out there that are doing the work. And also we have black women that are doing the work. Why are we not hyping them up as much as we are the Jane Elliott's and John Browns? We don't have to, like, it's this need to prove that there are some good white people out there. We know that.
Right. And at a certain point, those white people should know enough to say, I don't know enough to be the speaker.
They should have that point.
Black women should be in charge. I should be deferring to a black woman.
Exactly.
That's what I would wish in their message. They should keep doing it, but at the end of it, be like, if there's a black woman who says something to you, you better not ever catch yourself calling my name into it, or thinking you're, because people are like, if John Brown was who y'all are saying he was, Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
basically, would he, seriously, there's a picture of him like that. He got museums, I believe.
Oh my
Would
God.
you, would he be like, yes, get him? And if
Right.
so, we don't want him. So I'm not understanding. What's the goal here? That I apologize?
And for
I
what?
said something, they were like, you talking shit about John Brown. Like, you want to fight? Get him on live. Get him on live right now. Okay, tell him come to the box. Any
Not get
descendants
in
of
the
John
box.
Brown? Any
Not you
descendants of
said
John
get
Brown?
in the box. Like all this
Want a
all,
live battle?
this just in. White Woman Whisperer is now a debater.
I'm now a TikTok debater.
Breaking news! Breaking news!
Just this one time. Just this one time.
Just this one time.
Just for the John Brown call, apparently, because they said, you better keep Master's name out your mouth. And then they said, well, I'm going to listen to Harriet Tubman instead of you, a random black lady. I was like, who was Harriet Tubman? Do you think she was like, she had a glow to her when she was around? She wasn't a random person who decided to do something. Once people die, they don't become now previously obviously good.
Well, that
Like,
ties
they
into
hated
like
her.
yeah, that ties into people thinking like the world of people after they die. And this
Yeah.
now we're going to memorialize Harriet
Once
Tubman
they can't speak for
once they can't
themselves,
speak. Exactly.
then I said, get you some civil rights activists that are alive who can speak for themselves, or say, no, not like that. Because everyone, that's why they like the unborn babies.
Yes, that's perfect. That's perfect because if they
Sorry.
yes, because like no, it's great. Like it makes me think about this. They don't want to talk to the people that are alive because
No.
they can't manipulate what's being said into making it work for them.
Right.
But again,
And
also
that's why they say kids as a
yes,
whole, kids, even when the kids come up, they're like, well, kids don't know. Just replace it with slaves and you don't have a different story. They're your
100%.
property. Look at the Duggar thing where it was like,
Ooh.
God, father, wife, children, kids, or whatever. And that's where slaves sat as well.
Mm-hmm.
So in some ways it's like, yes, it's pervasive, it's everywhere, but also it's pretty simple once you boil it down. There's
Right.
not a lot of creativity in white supremacy, I gotta tell you.
There
It's
is
a lot of the same
known.
over and over and over and over again.
It's not known for its ingenuity. Ingenuity? I
Yeah,
like that
no,
word.
I think that was right. Like,
Yeah.
any pictures they have to like spark fear in white women about black men grabbing them up, like the Godzilla type references. Have you
Mm-hmm.
ever, how would that ever have happened in real life? But you know what did happen? Lots and lots of white hands on lots and lots of brown little girls. Lots of pictures too.
They love
Lots of pictures.
they love
But
making us
somehow, like, how would a black man survive? They just sexualize him. Like, obviously they want you guys. They are hypersexual for you white women because maybe they, in their heads, were hypersexual towards the black women because they were like, this is obvious. This is what they would do to our wives because this is what we do to their wives.
right.
It never actually was a thing.
It wasn't. It's
To
that
fear.
phrase of every accusation is a confession. And when it comes down to how white people, especially white men, assume how black people, especially black women, are going to act, or even white men and black men, they are placing their own actualized behavior on us. They're accusing us of what they've actually done and what they've thought about doing. They are trying to paint us into the monsters that they actually are.
Right. And it brings me back to, do you have a picture in your head of an angry black woman? I don't.
Mm-mm.
Have you ever seen like angry black woman? Are we allowed to actually be those things? But I've seen a lot of angry white women,
All the
especially
time.
in them streets,
All
marching
the time.
against integration. They were mad.
That's a really good point.
I have a good image of white angry men.
All over the place.
Red.
All over the place. What was it? South Carolina with the tiki torches.
Yeah.
That's something that I would
I
like
see.
the
I
rare
can picture so many angry white men faces and angry white women
easily,
faces.
easily. But
But an
actually,
angry black woman?
you don't get to see it because the minute we
I
start
can't
to
imagine it.
no, the minute we start to show too much emotion if we're out in public,
Right.
we are in danger.
That's the attack. Speaking is the attack. Speaking at them. That's why my name, White Woman Whisperer, hurts them. Because when
Hmm.
I'm on private, that means
Hmm.
all they can see about me is my face, a little bit of my face, and the fact that my name exists. And
Hmm.
they are mad,
Mad.
like angry, calling me reparations. That was a weird one. If reparations was a person, that's a comment I got.
I saw that and
They
I was
said
like,
this
what
is
does it?
dehumanizing. That was the one that was bothering me. This from a white woman. This username is pretty dehumanizing, no? Oh.
Now you know what that means.
Oh.
Now you know the word.
Oh, interesting.
Huh.
You got time to talk about dehumanization.
So interesting how your priorities have
Wow.
shifted.
Wow. And this
Hmm.
was my page was private. So
Hmm.
saw nothing, but knew the word.
Hmm.
And you think they're the same. And that's why I have my little sign. Double standards are not oppression.
Right. They're not.
Having a different reaction. If you a black woman whisper, yeah, people would be like, that's weird. Instead of,
Right.
ah, ha, ha, it's so funny. Because things are different. Like, what? It's a double. You created whatever double standard is. I don't understand. That's another one. What the fuck is that? You
It
mean
just
different things happen for different people?
that's so strange.
Get out of here.
Quit
Wait,
it.
but and then they're like, well, racism. You're like you want to talk about oppression, and then you're like, well, we aren't allowed to get college is that they be reaching because
so far.
so
So
they
far.
just come
And
right in college funds. You're like, what?
everything they reach for
You
is
get to say
also
the N word.
a 400-year
Sorry.
head start and you're mad about
That's
now.
because they've been sitting on the handlebars of the cult, the bicycle cult of America. They've been sitting on the handlebars the whole time, not doing no work, while we have
Have been
been
peddling,
have
pushing.
been the hamster wheel of the front of capitalism, and then mostly
Hmm.
white women and poor white people in the back wheel fueling white's good, white people, yes, whiteness, and then we have to also like ride do the pedals, all the
Hmm.
labor, and then they sit up there like, no, we can see the best, we have the best vision. We're gonna tell you just keep going, keep going, keep going. It's getting we're almost there for like 400 years.
Right.
Um, and none of us were like, hey, can we stop? And they're like, look how far we've come. Like,
Meanwhile, we're still
I'm
exhausted.
tired. Right.
Just
And then we're
worn the
just
fuck out.
going, and they're just fat now because it's 400 years. They've just been sitting
Just sitting, doing
on the
nothing.
handlebars, chewing, having snacks, making calls about the better ways to work down there, and people don't want to work anymore.
Hmm.
Like, and the people before had no issue. I'm pretty sure they did.
They sure
You
did.
know,
They
and
absolutely did.
yeah, and that just what keeps it all together is just shh, don't talk about it.
If you don't
And
talk
that's
about
why
it, they'll
people
go
are so
away.
uncomfortable. They
Hmm.
think talking about it is the same thing as enacting it.
Right.
Saying white supremacy was like, oh my God, what?
It comes
Saying
back
the
though.
words?
It comes back again. If talking about it to them is as bad as enacting it, which means
Yeah.
that again, you are recognizing how you have done it at one point. And
Mhm.
people need to understand you can recognize your past bad behavior.
Yeah. Say,
It's
I won't do that anymore. Include the anymore. I just saw a
the
video about that. Like, say, you did it. All right. And once you find out about it, it's your decision and it's your responsibility to
hmm.
say, I'm not going to do that anymore.
Hmm.
Good. Thank you.
That's
We're not going to
important.
shame you. Like, it doesn't make any sense. We have lives to save. We don't have time to sit and shame you retroactively.
It doesn't do anything.
It
It
does
doesn't do
nothing for
anything.
me.
It does nothing
I
for
mean,
me.
you
And
should
all it
address your
does,
trauma and blah, blah, blah.
absolutely. But
But we're not going to be all up on you for it.
people think that we are just going to harp on them and harp on them. That's what they talk about.
Yeah.
Like, it was so long ago. Yes, it was so long ago. And it's still happening today because y'all don't acknowledge that it was so long ago. So
Yeah.
when
So
we
can
talk
I
about
talk
it
about it then?
today, yeah,
Yeah.
it's still happening. It's still
Yeah. We talk
happening.
about things all the time. We talk about things that never happened. So, like, okay, it happened a long time ago. Like, I would just go with it at this point because it's a talking point they are prepared to engage with all
Mm-hmm.
these responses.
Right.
They know what's going to come next. You have to say something different almost. So, like, I would say, I mean, we know it's not true. It wasn't that
Right.
long ago and we don't talk about it. But it's like, that's taking a beat for me. I have to
Mm-hmm.
be like, so stupid. Okay, let me read this and find the funny for me or
Right.
whatever. And like, oh, and give them it, whatever it is. Usually I'm like, okay,
And what
and
now?
now what?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need. We need to give them whatever they said. You're
Yes.
so racist. Like, okay,
But what now?
so you're so white. I was like, okay, so get me your manager. Get me
It's
your
all that-
manager. Then I fixed it. No, wait, no. Get me your manager.
Very
Like, it
loud.
doesn't hurt me. And like what we were speaking about before. You
Mm-hmm.
can call me whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
I the work, my work speaks for itself. I know who I am. The
Right.
stranger who hasn't seen my profile or anything I do doesn't know who I am, but they're upset. And that tells me a lot about them.
Uh-huh.
And it's just more information. And then I get to have fun with it sometimes. But it does activate me at a certain point. The John Brown stuff, I feel like this is what I needed.
Right.
I need, and I might write up a piece on it because also the inclusion aspect, the fact that people are so stuck because I said imagine if he included Black people.
I want people to think about why they get so mad about that piece of inclusion. Why are you upset about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
You said
Yeah.
something about that because you're making me think about another way to reframe things. Yes, giving them what they want, but then following it up with that. Okay, so what next? We
Mm-hmm.
need people to think about the what next. And if you don't have a what next, then that lets me know then all you wanted to do was be antagonistic. That is
Exactly.
all you were trying to do. And
Mm-hmm.
you just don't hold that much worth. Like, I don't know who you are. You are a stranger on the internet who decided it was a good idea to go into a comment section and be like, you're dumb. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm still going to log off at one point and go make some food and not know anything else about you.
Yeah. I like leaving it like, or they say, what was that? Snap. Windows update. That's why I don't like these PCs.
How dare they? How very
I
dare they?
honestly, I'm busy. And also, no,
Well,
I forgot.
the
No, I wanted to say it.
hold on, the men shit. We're talking about what's not like leaving it, like leaving somebody's.
Oh, well, I wanted to say that's like the why are you talking part of wait, and then I just leave it there. Oh, someone was like,
Mm,
the guy, whatever, and he said, the Black woman, answer me now. And all I did was do a sound back, I don't do anything I want to do. Sorry.
Yes.
I know it, right? And it was like, oh, thank you for giving me attention. And I just left it. I'm
Just
not
leave
going
it
to
alone.
respond to anything. And he kept, now he's still responding. I only talk to my friends. So
Yeah.
I will use their comments. And then I did respond to one thing because someone was like, oh, it's maybe something about mommy issues or whatever. And he was like, hey, yeah, maybe, kind of. Can you help me? And I was like, oh, Timmy's looking for a mammy. Definitely Black. No. Like, yeah, well,
I love that.
shocking.
Wait, so it was
Because
a
he's supposed
person
to be
saying,
Black, right? He's like,
"Oh
I'm Black, by the way.
no!"
I'm Black, by the way. And then he in the comments like, well, maybe you can help me with that.
Eh.
Already so many points. And then at one point it was like, you're depressed, kiddo. And another person was like, kiddo, you are failing all the Black tests.
I think just every single one. Watch your mouth, buckaroo.
They get so upset and like, thank you for the attention. Another white thing to say. Like, we
100%.
don't need attention.
No.
We want to be left alone. So those are fun and also I think important to see. So for some white people, because they get triggered by someone saying I'm Black sometimes, and they're like, and because someone responded like, she already answered this boy. Like we are
Right.
knowing it's, but someone was like, well, I don't know if you should say boy. This is a white person. This is not a Black person. I hear you, but she good. Like, this is not
Also,
a Black person.
The fact that they chose that moment to now try to tone police you,
You're right. Well, not me. It was
not you, but like the
right. Yeah,
person in general. So
the
after all of
comments.
that, after this
Right.
person playing pretend a black through your comments, now they
Yeah.
want to speak up. Ooh, don't call this person who actually isn't black boy. This is
Yeah.
where your line in the
That's
sand is.
performative AF.
100%.
Like I'm having fun. You don't
100%.
have to come in and police language on my posts.
No.
I get so happy when I see commenters like having little not relationships, but like, oh thanks, and like little back and forths and like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
oh my god, me too. I'm in that area. I'm like, I
Yes.
created this.
That's cute.
I like the or like hopping on each other, like basically like if you know you know type vibes.
Yeah.
Um and I think that's a stronger show of force and people don't come back that much. Like that makes me feel safer and more secure on my page, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
know my people.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I know people on TikTok don't get it, but
No,
this like I know my
there,
people. Someone gonna
there's
get
there's a
me.
set of people, like a group of people. I could probably list off probably 10 or 15 if I think about it, that I know that if I post a video that's going to activate some feelings, I can leave it alone
Yeah,
because they will come in and handle the comment section
right.
in
And
as many ways as
yeah,
possible. And
I've
that
been
is
doing
a
that too.
strong thing to be able to do, because sometimes,
Yes, yes,
like,
yes,
it's
yes.
it's hard. We talk about the dopamine of recording a video, and then I felt like needing to manage my comment section. I was doing that out of protection for other Black people, especially other Black women. But
Mm,
knowing that there are people that have been doing the work that can handle that for me, that
yeah,
takes a bit of stress off of myself. And it shows again that what we're doing is working and that it's
right.
necessary and that people are healing from it. Like, Black women will step up and protect other Black women. White women are coming in and saying, nah, calm
You're not
down,
gonna speak.
Kevin.
Mm-mm. Don't tell her what to do.
Right.
You brought Kevin back.
Fucking Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin.
I really
You
need to
know
figure out who this Kevin person is, because he just,
he bothers you.
every time.
No, I. That is fundamental like why I wanted to make the page. I
Mm-hmm.
knew that also seeing other people seeing white women come to the defense of black women when they don't have to
Mm-hmm.
is more hope inspiring than black women just doing more of awesomeness and being underrepresented and underappreciated.
Right.
There are people that are getting it, right? And I'm getting a lot
Uh-huh.
of before and after. I think I'm gonna do some duets. I gotta stay bubbling. But with some of the stitches I got about positive change,
Oh, I
I
love that. I
posted
love
that
that.
TikTok
Mm-hmm.
that I had in my drafts for a while, but I knew I'd have to be public to post it, saying, change. When was the last time you changed your stance on something? Um, and mine was about Justin Bobby, which people are very. I remember,
Justin
but
Bobby.
do you remember when I
You
told
did.
you?
I was like,
I was like, oh my god, I think I just realized something about
mm,
Justin Bobby.
yes. Yes.
I think he's just neurodivergent and honest. Oh, I
Like,
think
it
I'm
took it.
Justin Bobby.
I literally put on I felt like I put on a different pair of glasses, like, oh,
I know.
okay. He
I
never
know.
lied about who he is.
He said, I mean, and he liked her still, so he wanted to hang out, which I get, but she wasn't,
She
whatever.
was expecting something he didn't promise. I think
Uh,
another thing that's really good about this community building thing as well is it gives a good example of what it looks like to advocate for Black women without being a white savior, because you know that white
yes.
people try to throw that around so much. And when we are when white women are just doing it of their own accord because they see that it's necessary,
Hmm.
that is advocacy. That is being an accomplice. That
Right.
saviorism comes in where nothing has happened and
Right.
you come swooping in saying, you
This is
are
I'm gonna
wrong.
help you. I'm gonna help. If you
Yeah,
come in to help someone, I just looking out for none of that. None of that. Ever. Stop it. No
right.
mission vibes. Instead it should be you should be humbled. You should look at
Hmm.
black women as educators because you have not seen them at all. And they've seen everything.
You've created an action item for me for when we close this out. I'm going to remember it. Humble, not helping. I'm going to come back to it.
Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it.
I want people to, when you're
Oh,
ready
you
to come
said
into
it.
the
Humble,
space
not
of a
helping.
Black woman, when you're ready to
Mm-hmm.
start doing this work, you do not need to ask how you can help,
Yeah. Helping is
because
hindering.
helping is hindering. And also, if you were really concerned about how you could help, then all you would do is take a minute to look outside and see how fucked off things are right now.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you really want to be an accomplice, you just have to listen, which means that you have to have that feeling of humility. You have to shut up. Like, you have to shut up and just listen, but
Not
actively
listen
listen.
for
Not
things.
listen for, but actively listen to
Yeah.
everything. Don't listen for what makes you feel comfortable and then glean onto that. You've got to listen to
Right.
the,
Or
the
even
nitty.
for what you should do.
Right,
Don't listen for action items either. Just
right.
like
Just
listen with,
listen.
like, let it absorb. I say, remember, I haven't said this in a while, but this should be about digestion, not consumption.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
consuming something, it just goes through. It doesn't really
Mm-hmm.
matter how it goes through. Digestion takes some time. You should not have a response right away. Or, and
Right.
if you get corrected, if I say, hey, I want you to think about this, blah 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 blah, and you respond right away with an
You have
apology,
you haven't thought about
even if it's an
anything.
apology, you have not.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way, because these things come to me. It takes so much time
Right.
and a life. And you think you could just step in and correct something, or be misunderstood, and correct
It
someone's value system,
it
what you
always
care
comes
about?
back to it always comes back to, wait, why am I talking?
Yeah.
Just, why are you talking? Just because we've been given the ability to speak, and just because we've been given all these words that we can use, does not mean that we have to use them all of the time.
No, silence
Save
is
your words.
okay.
Silence is good. Save your words
Silence
for
is
something that's going to make
good.
some impact, that
Yeah.
actually means something.
Right. Right now, there's a lot of talking about nothing. So it's say, black people do so much more with so much less, and white people do so much
So
less
much
with
less with
so
so
much
much
more.
more.
And like sitting on the handlebars, right? That's not where you want to be, really.
Mm-mm.
Ideally, like, you're not good. Y'all are not good.
No,
you know, no one's good. No
no
one's
one's good.
good. Can we
No one's
stop?
good.
Maybe we want, like, bicycles aren't the thing anymore. The bicycle cult of America. I hear you. It got you from like those years to those years. Did we need to do that? Maybe not, but that's for later times. We're here now. Let's stop the bike. Stop it.
Let's stop
Stop
the
the
bike.
bike. And how I want to do that is get those white women in the back wheel supporting white supremacy to halt. Once they're awake, they will stop riding that back. They're going to stop running on the hamster
Mm-hmm.
wheel, and
Mm-hmm.
working with the men, the white men that are also pushing it because they can't see that whiteness isn't the goal.
Right.
And then the whole bike will stop. I don't need to get the man up top to stop, to call down, to say stop, so everybody stops. That's what it sounds like when y'all talk to the people, the
Include.
boards and chairs and whatever.
Uh-huh.
It's like they're
That,
calling up there like, hey, could you decide to stop the bike?
as opposed to just
No.
stopping it.
It's like, talk to each other, be like, I think no. We've passed some really great places and we're just riding. I don't think he knows where he's going. I think he thinks if he just keeps going, whatever. He's not thinking. He's just enjoying his time, his wind
Mm-hmm.
right now, his
Mm-hmm.
short-term success. The planet doesn't need to exist that long. We're just whatever, just pushing
The,
along.
the bicycle of America is so perfect too, and it's another way to let white women know exactly how much power they have,
Yes.
even while being used,
Yes.
because they are that back wheel of the bike.
Yes.
And that bike goes nowhere if that back wheel isn't moving. So if you stop that back wheel, then we can realize the bike doesn't work. But
Right.
white women just do
It's
not want to,
rusty.
they don't want to acknowledge the power that they have, or they want to use that power in the wrong place and use it as a way to overlord us.
Yeah, I think it's less malicious than that. I think it's like a devil you know versus devil you don't. Sometimes, of the
Mm,
cognitive dissonance, it's like, well,
mm-hmm.
that sounds scary, stopping the bike. I've been on the bike. My mom was on the bike. My grandma was on the bike, and they don't see the rest of the bike necessarily. They don't see
Right.
that there's a whole wheel in front. You have no idea what we encounter before you even see it. We're in the front wheel pushing the whole thing. That's capitalism, but first it's bodies.
Ah, yes, 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 yes,
It's
yes.
bodies,
Right.
right? And we're
Right.
going head first. We're the first ones out there,
Mm-hmm.
and we're getting whipped to keep going. And we're
Right.
pulling y'all along and we're trying to stop, but we kept getting whipped. And I'm trying to get y'all to stop. And people try to jump up and sit on the handlebars with them. Some do. Some get to
Mm-hmm.
sit on the seat. Maybe Herschel Walker gets to sit on the seat for a little bit, and then they're like,
And
"All right, you're done." As
yeah,
you know, if you can keep them going, then you're gonna do it.
right.
But stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
there are other things, and I think they've been trained into silence, because think about how silent they are about the things that are happening in their homes, in
Mm.
their lives, and they're trained to just th- that's terrible. I don't know. And something I just learned yesterday. I was
Mm-hmm.
watching a documentary. Sorry, this is, but it kind of just sticks out. There was Orthodox Jewish community that was like way more of a cult, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I could tell a whole book about Halloween specifically. They said you must shut your door, like turn off everything. They're the goyim, which is like non-Jews, are gonna come and get you. This is the night they come to attack. This is the night they come and get. And it worked because every year people would come and ring their doorbell and try to get in their house, and they truly believed
Huh.
that the goyim were coming to harm them every year, and they're like buckle down for Halloween.
Wow.
Yeah,
What documentary is that?
I have to remember, because it was just one of those like on YouTube when I was scrolling.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because I was wondering where that cult is, because a lot of I grew where I was in Teaneck, there's a very intense Orthodox Jewish population, and in
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn, and I worked for kosher steakhouse, which is I got to do skits about that too. Oh God. Well, I stopped wearing my tie at that job because I was like, they don't stop. That's not helping me. That's not. They're like, why? They don't go out, and they come to the steakhouse and they're like, what's this? I'm like, it's a menu. No. What do you have? A menu. We have a menu. Did you read it?
I swear I love the intersections of you. Because where else could I hear this story from?
Oh, this is a normal shit where you just like live in a town where you happen to. It was like 3 minutes from my house. That's how. That's normal
Turns
stuff.
out
No.
that's not. I don't think that's a normal experience for everyone.
Oh my god. That was an experience. I did that for like 2 years. I worked there as a server.
Mm,
Oh, the things.
the
Life.
things.
It's crazy that TikTok. When we talk TikTok Talk Tuesday.
TikTok Talk
Um,
Tuesday.
People are like shocked when I say that um my hair wasn't always curly. And I don't know why. That's just like, oh, you don't get it.
No.
Like this, I would never, like young me would have never, ever, ever guessed that I would be natural. Let alone like, yes, it's beautiful and I love it. It got to that point, right, where
Mm-hmm.
I just accepted, I had my whole little NTP. I was like, yeah, I just cut off all my hair, but it's not like I'm fine.
Right. Right.
I'm fine. I just
Right.
cut off all my hair because I didn't decide it. It just kind of happened. Whatever. But I'm not my hair. Shout out
Right.
Indiari.
I am
Um,
not my hair.
I'm
I
not.
love that song.
And it just took it's so far from where I was,
Mm-hmm.
and how much my life revolved around keeping my hair straight and fixed,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh my god,
just
that's a
the
whole
value
conversation.
system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole conversation because the way that we value our hair is so different than any other, like really any other culture, if we think
And
about it.
yeah, and when I say like no, for 26 years, I went natural when I was 26.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they just like, what? Your hair is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's like, yeah, but here's the thing. It
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have been considered gorgeous.
Right, right.
I couldn't do this to my hair. I didn't know. Products, YouTube, self acceptance, like being on my own and being able to put my hair and head up when I had my little big chop. We were already work from home, so I
Mm-hmm.
know I was fine. Um,
Right.
so I could do that, but it's like y'all don't get it.
They don't. They're not gonna get it.
But even I'm still understanding it because
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have been natural this whole time.
So if you're
Even
still
with my hair
understanding it,
straight, it was
right?
it was
If you're still understanding it, the idea
right.
of somebody that doesn't look like you understanding it right away does not
Yeah.
make any sense at all.
And that's why I think I don't like the comments of like my daughter's hair is just like yours. Um, what products do you use? I'm like, my hair isn't even just like mine,
Right.
depending on the day or the
Mm-hmm.
section of my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I already am concerned based on the beginning of that. I,
And it's
you
fair.
know, it's just like yours.
That's
And I was at the airport, and this Asian lady looks at me. She was like, "Your hair is gorgeous." She said, how long did it take? Like she's, and then when I said, "No, this is my natural hair," she shocked, like, like I hit her.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I just and it's not. It's just sad, I guess.
Right, because it's not always from a place of malice. It's not
No,
always from a place of harm,
she.
but it's
I would
just
like to see my hair out in public. I wish I saw more people with my hair growing up. I don't want to be the person.
right.
Like, I just want to live my life. I forget, you know. My first TikTok like person who recognized me, shout out Amanda. Only 2 people have said it so far, but she and she just came up to me at the fair. She was like, "Oh, I love your," and I was assuming she was gonna say hair, like,
Hmm.
and she had TikTok, and my heart was just like, "Oh, I wasn't ready." Because I was just so ready for hair. I was not that it would have been a problem. I would have been
Right,
grateful, but thankful. I don't hate compliments about my hair. I don't like when the sentence goes on.
right. Just stop
Just
it there. Just
stop it there. Compliment end. Don't no descriptors. No descriptive words,
leave it
please.
alone.
No touchy. No touchy. Yeah. But she said, I like your TikToks. I love her. I was like,
That's so sweet.
I know. I was like at 50,000 followers. So and I was
Look
like,
at you,
oh,
you little influencer.
look at me. Oh, look at me.
Hmm.
So there's
Um,
that.
I was thinking, you know that we can go on and on and on
Yeah,
forever and
I'm
forever.
hot.
I am hot too, but I also think about this too. For podcasts and with people with knowing how long they'll be able to listen. I think an hour is good for our
I think
TikTok
an
Talk
hour is good,
Tuesdays.
but honestly, I think we should just do whatever we want
I also agree with that.
because because I was looking
Uh huh.
and we just did it. Like
Yeah.
we just and if we want to keep, but we don't have to anything
We don't have to have a necessary. And honestly,
because it doesn't exist already.
thank you.
So
Thank you.
you
It's not
can
real.
listen, you cannot listen, you can jump in, you can jump out. Like you're not going to be harmed for it being different lengths. Like
Right. No, no, right. Like the one that I have now, there's any number. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, who
yeah,
knows? It's when we
right.
get to we get that. I like this. This
Yeah,
was
because
great.
the one was like it's like an hour and 20 the one I put, and it's
Oh
got
yeah, yeah, yeah.
150 whatever. And like sometimes you're just like listening to conversations, podcast
Yes.
style.
Just put it
It's
on.
different than a video. It's very different than TikTok video,
Right.
but you got a lot on here on
This was
this
so much fun.
TikTok Talk Tuesday. I really
I'm
liked it.
proud of you
Thank
for
you.
making this happen today.
Thank you very much. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Just
Period.
because period. I almost did that one.
Period.
I almost did the one tick.
For toasting at a toast. You did that.
Thank you.
I was
That
when you said you put in the nose, I was like, oh Because it's one thing I've been saying this since like
Right.
how
Right.
whatever day one. I was like, but why are you? Why
And
in
I
Nebraska?
sent you the text at a time that I knew that you would not get it right away. Like I was like, I can't wait for her to have this surprise
I was
in
like,
the
what
morning time.
gifts? I was like, okay, that's awesome. Because listen,
This is what I want. Like it
the
got to the point
energy is
of
better spent.
it's so much different. Like just having time and enjoying what I'm doing. The fact that I was able to sit down yesterday and write, which I have not had the the desire to do because I've been so busy giving shit away to other people.
Yep.
It's time.
Trying to fill this dopamine void, I feel like it'll
Mm,
be easier to realize, like, oh, okay, that actually kind of isn't healthy, right? Like
right.
those quick hits and
Where
stuff.
can I be creative somewhere else?
And I think this is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think being able to say, okay, this is where this leads me, and we can always bring these things back up. It's not to say,
Right.
we talked about these comments, now we can't talk about these comments anymore.
Right.
But
Because any comment that we decide to talk about is going to tie into everything. This is a
exactly,
really good way of making sure that education continues. Because one thing about TikTok with people
yep,
coming in and out, we were naturally finding ourselves repeating things that we've already talked about. This is a good way for people that, again, if you're investing, which thank you, this is a way to make sure that you are
absolutely.
investing in the education that continues. Not to say that TikTok's going away, but I would
Like
imagine that
builds
some
on
people, right,
itself.
that
Yeah.
some people are tired of
They
hearing
said,
the same thing.
let me tell you, John Brown Gate 3 Tokyo Drift.
Not the Fast and Furious spinoff.
Because Violet had said, what is this? Round 3 or season 3 of John Brown? And I just, exactly.
Is Vin Diesel John Brown?
Oh my God. I don't. Apparently, Paul Walker was like,
What?
cancel him. His wife was
What?
like, young.
What? What?
Yeah. Which, I mean, like we said, just because they died doesn't mean they're now
Not they're not saints
angels.
now. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, like they could just go, this John Brown conversation will never
Never
not
go away.
infuriate a man. So, because it's men. I mean,
Yes.
every once in a while there was a woman, I think, that was like, I teach this stuff. And blah, blah, blah. Why are you arguing with me?
Yeah, you teach the white man's you
She
teach the
called
white
me
man's
all
education.
kinds of idiot and dingus. And then towards the end, she's like, well, I mean, I guess I agree with you if this is. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
She was going on sources, all that stuff. And I want to wrap up. We brought up Harriet Tubman.
Mm-hmm.
I just, in case anyone hasn't heard the John Brown spiel, I just want to get this all out of my face.
Just do it.
Okay. They always go to Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman because Frederick Douglass, I guess, wrote in his book that he was a good guy, whatever. Although there's a lot of records of him being like, I told him not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to get my people killed. Whatever. Then there's the Harriet Tubman book, right? Where I think she also didn't participate in any of this, told him it would be a bad idea. They both did,
Mm-hmm.
as my understanding. I didn't read these books. He was a great guy. Now, who publishes books?
The white man.
Do you think Frederick Douglass got full access to his full experience to say about whatever he wanted? Did you know that Nat Turner is who he wanted to write about? Do you know who Nat Turner is? Does he have a museum?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Okay, and then Harriet Tubman, she was illiterate till she died.
Till the day she died.
So, and then someone tried to. So you don't think she had friends who could write? And then could going so hard.
What
They want
what
me to be wrong.
what
So
friends did Harriet Tubman
who wrote the book, and then they published the book. Do you think, okay, of all the books we have so far, do you think that these books were just
They like to compare.
Listen to the Martin Luther King speech. Like,
They
we hear
compare
one part.
today's. Oh my God! They compare today's reality with what happened then. Like, yes, there are illiterate people today that will have friends that can write a book, but we are talking about then.
Yeah, they don't see outside their own reality.
Your individual
That's so
reality
true.
is not a universal truth.
Like, woman did 12 trips to Canada. Where's her museums?
They wouldn't even
He
put her on.
he
They wouldn't
failed.
even put her on money.
He failed at his one attempt, and it wasn't good. Nothing, all bad.
But yay, John Brown.
He tried and didn't make it 24 hours.
But
You know,
is that
he
your
don't
king?
listen.
Is that your king?
Right. He don't listen to black women, and neither do you.
There's something that you have in common.
That's it.
Congratulations on the John
That's it.
Brown Academy.
You know what? That's it.
That's it.
You want to bring up Harriet Tubman because I'm always listening. I'm going to listen to Harriet Tubman. She's not speaking. You can't listen to someone who is not speaking. There is no audible version where you're going to listen to Harriet Tubman read her story. Bruh, do you think you could have handled Harriet Tubman, by the way? Like, do you think that they can't handle what I say
Right?
and what I'm doing?
Can you imagine?
They're going to listen
Can
to
you
Harriet Tubman.
imagine?
Listen.
Lord.
She said, if you're not about this life, you could go. And I don't care who the fuck. And reminds me of the knocking out babies thing when someone was like, she used to knock out babies. And they said they thought she pushed the babies. They're like, no, they gave them little opium so they could sleep. They thought she was knocking out
going around
babies.
punching babies. Boom! If you don't
Got
shut
the
your
meanest-
ass, boom!
The meanest jab to the jaw. On that
I told
baby.
that baby to shut up. Boom!
And you'd be like, I'm gonna listen to her.
Right.
Oh, I bet you would have listened to her.
Right.
But you won't listen to me. And all I said was, imagine. All I said was, imagine if he had included black people.
And then you set the internet on fire.
Oh my God. And then someone was like, he had black people. And I was like, 5. Like, I would help them, right? I'd help them. Yes.
Let's take it a little bit further.
5.
You had five of them.
Do you know their names? Sometimes then one person went and Googled them and brought them out. Never forget. Shut up. You never knew their names.
No! Stop
I
it!
swear to God.
Not a fucking fake memorial.
For the 5 black men.
Say
2
their
of them were
names.
free, I think. What did they die for?
God.
So you care about those? What about the one right outside your window?
No. That is not John Brown's accomplice or
Anyone who can't
employee.
speak for themselves is going to get white support.
There it is. Woo!
Wow.
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 All right, friend.
This
This
was
is fantastic.
This was good. I enjoyed this TikTok.
I like this a lot. And one more thing. So we always say one more thing. The reason why I like this so much, we talked about this, is there's not the outside noise from comment section.
Yep.
And it's just comfortable. It's nice.
It is. And I didn't go live while I did it because I know, like, as much as it shouldn't change or whatever, it would.
would.
Like, the numbers change my experience of it.
Mhm.
Regardless, and whether good, bad, or makes it whatever, I don't like that.
Right.
So this gives us, and I think we have enough security and support in our community, and we've been on it for long enough that, like, I think we have we got
do.
it.
Yeah.
We know what the chat's gonna be like. We're not usually.
Right.
Sometimes we get some funnies, and we can talk about them here. But this way we can get it out. Say we talked about it. At one, maybe eventually we'll get like details underneath the video. We'll be like, this is where we talk about John Brown.
Ooh, yeah.
At
That's
some
for later
point,
times, but I like it.
yeah, at some point, it's the internet, right? We got all this time. We're doing this now.
We're doing the thing.
We're doing
the
it.
thing.
We podcasting. We're no, I don't want to have a name.
Nope.
I don't want
do
to have a
that.
name.
That
Nope.
will you will immediately not want to do it anymore.
You're so right.
You will. This will be the last time that we would do
I
this.
wasn't even going there, but you're so right.
This will be. This is our first and last podcast episode. Thank you so much for listening.
I definitely have an episode where I'm like, I'm gonna say something so exciting next time, and literally never. I didn't come back. I did not come back.
She just ran away. Ran away. No,
We got the tax exempt status on Meeting of Melanated Minds, and like I found out right at the end of the episode, Ishmael had no idea. He just comes walking in. I'm like, oh, I never announced it.
Yep.
So that'll be another time.
We just have to let it be. Yes.
Just let it be. Let it be. With the word of wisdom, let it be. See, I'm a little white.
Okay.
My comments said so.
As we introduce the Beatles, as we
Wait, we can't go out like this. We can't go out like this. You'll be knocking and bucking and ready to... I just saw a TikTok where they said the kids don't do that anymore.
That's your redemption.
I was like, what's the
son.
opposite?
We knocking, we walking.
Sorry. I wanted
Listen.
to erase it and give. Because also I saw the TikTok and someone said, you know, in the clubs they be looking at people like, oh, and they don't sing the song, they don't sing along. So it was right there.
It's good. It was good. You definitely went the opposite end. So on that
Your
note,
girl is eclectic, okay? She brought back socks and stocks. Socks and sandals are back in, guys. I'm a diverse person.
Diverse.
I've been referred to diverse with the hand gesture just over my entire being.
Just like
you've had a diverse upbringing.
There's things here.
Look at you. You've had some challenges, obviously.
I love that. Look at you. Just
hand out.
The shining example of it.
I mean, come on.
Look. Right there.
And I mean, you know what? Valid too.
Exactly.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
I'm gonna lean
that
into
was
it.
Really, I like that.
Yeah.
I feel good.
All right.
I feel good about this, guys.
This is great.
Please sub to our Patreon so we can keep doing this.
Yes. Sub to our Patreon. Check our links and our bios on our pages for any other places that you can support us. But Patreon is the best way to invest so we can continue doing this.
And we've been writing, so that Don't say it, Rebecca.
Nope.
I'm never going to do it again.
Okay, so anywho. We're
doing lots of stuff. I can't wait. It's going to be so exciting.
Join us. All right, friend. I will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.